To help educate the public on how to avoid dangerous, inappropriate, or unlawful behavior when calling 911, which is costly financially in lives lost, property destroyed, and crimes committed. The public needs to understand when and when not to call 911, how to dial 911, and what to say to a 911 dispatcher. This is actually a very special year because this year marks the 50th anniversary of the first 911 call made in Haleyville, Alabama on February 16th, 1968. For half a century, 911 has been the gateway between the public and emergency help, and it will continue to be there as a lifeline to help people when they need it most. Through the profession, technology, and though the profession, technology, and industry have changed over the years, the desire to make a difference in people's lives remains the same. It is now my pleasure to introduce today's ceremony host and MC. This NFL legend needs no introduction, but we're going to introduce him anyway. Formerly known as Mr. Raider, he is a retired Oakland Raiders wide receiver, the 1987 Heisman Trophy winner, the 2010 College Football Hall of Fame recipient, and last but not least, a member of the NFL Pro Football Hall of Fame. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, please join me in welcoming the International Chairman of 911 for Kids, Mr. Tim Brown.
Thank you very much. Charlie gets better and better at that every year. But Charlie, I am still Mr. Raider. Not formally, I am still. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the 2018 California State 911 Heroes Award Ceremony presented by Motorola Solutions and my charity, 911 for Kids Public Education. Today we're here to recognize some incredible 911 heroes. These behind-the-scenes heroes work tirelessly in cooperation with law enforcement, fire, and emergency medical response. They are the men and women who answer these calls each day and are the true first responders when a disaster or emergency strikes, which can often make the difference between life and death for people in need. They are true, real heroes. Now please give a warm welcome to Vice President of Government and Public Safety for Motorola Solutions, Mr. Michael Applewhite.
Thank you, Tim. Good morning, boys and girls. Thank you for being here and the adults who make that happen. Very appreciative of that. I want to answer the question I know everyone is asking. The answer is no. I am not also a Heisman Trophy winner or a former Hall of Fame inductee, but I did grow up not too far from Mr. Tim Brown, so I understand a little bit about what it's like growing up in Texas and wanting to play football. Kiddos, what you may not know, and I didn't tell him I was going to do this, is that Mr. Tim Brown, when he was young, his mom cared about him so much and wanted him to be safe that she wouldn't let him play football. Would not let Mr. Raider play. He had to learn the rules, he had to have passion, he had to go out and train and work hard and show that he could be safe before his mom would let him play. Isn't it amazing how much our moms, our dads, our teachers, our principals care for us? They want us to be safe before they will let us play and have fun. And that's what this event is all about. So I would like to thank Tim for letting us have this opportunity and for everything that his organization does. Today, I am happy to represent Motorola Solutions as we host this event. And this is a very, very important thing that we do because it brings much needed attention to 911. It's incredible, it's selfless what these heroes do that we're going to hear about. And we at Motorola Solutions are passionately dedicated to helping make our communities, your communities, safer. And teaching the public, starting with you, how to use 911 and making sure that you know how these tools work and how important and critical they are and when to use them is vital to us, and it's important to all the adults that are here surrounding us. So thank you, kids, for the time that you are giving us today to learn a little bit more about 911. It's now my honor to introduce our next presenter, the Director of the Governor's Office of Emergency Services. Please help me welcome Mr. Mark Ghirlandanou.
All right, thank you, Mike. Well, good morning, everyone, and it is a great honor and a privilege to be with you here today. And representing the Office of Emergency Services and the Governor of California on this very important day to signify 911 for kids. It is my great pleasure, though, today to present a joint resolution from the state legislature. The building behind me, our Capitol, has the Senate and the Assembly, and they have put a joint resolution together declaring this week 911 for Kids Education Week, and today specifically as 911 Heroes and Dispatchers Day. And we'll know more about that here shortly. But if I could, may I have the following 911 for Kids board members join me at the podium? Tim Brown, Charlie Cullen, Paul Truxell, Elise Kim, and the new executive director of 911 for Kids, Elizabeth Colmenares. And I'm going to present this joint resolution to Tim Brown, representing 911 for Kids Day and 911 Heroes and Dispatchers Day.
Thank you so much, Director Carol Laducci. We're going to have our new Executive Director, Elizabeth, and Tim do a special presentation.
Thank you, Director Gilarducci. OES, the California 911 Emergency Communications Branch, and the California State Assembly and Senate, 911 for Kids appreciates your magnificent support of 911 public education and caller training. Today's ceremonies and tomorrow's Tim Brown mini mentor for fatherless boys would not be possible if not for the tireless efforts of two exemplary volunteers.
We would like to have a special thank you to Michelle Bland and Kathy Brandenburg. If you could please approach the stage. We have a special Heroes Award for you too. And then just kind of move right in. Why don't you come on up and Micah, let's stand up. Let's do. So these two ladies have spent tireless hours in helping to ensure that these events were supported correctly by not only the private sector but the public sector. There's many more volunteers, but these two gals in particular have made a significant contribution. Jim, yeah, so why don't you introduce?
Still trying to talk with no voice, so get out of here, Elise. Please welcome our next presenter, representing the City of Sacramento, District 1, Councilwoman Angelique Ashby.
I'm not in the Hall of Fame either, so I do serve with a Raider, though. Rick Jennings is on our City Council as my colleague, but no, not Hall of Fame. However, I am the council member for these kids in this audience, so yay to Paso Verde, right? Those are my kids, and I cannot wait to see them get an award and take a picture with them after this. I never miss an opportunity to brag on Natomas or our kids or their parents or how amazing our community is. And today I'm going to take one point of privilege before I make an important introduction here to say that it is a tough time in the city of Sacramento. And standing up here with law enforcement, I would be remiss if I did not thank the California Highway Patrol for their help and assistance in the city of Sacramento in keeping us safe always, but particularly in the last week. You are appreciated, you are heroes, and we are grateful to have you supporting us in Sacramento. And to Tim Brown, thank you for taking your stardom and your fame and putting it into programs like this that help honor kids like mine. It's really important and special, and we appreciate you. And the most important people behind us that you kids probably want to meet the most are back there. And I want to make sure you know who they are. And they have a really important job to do, besides just look cool and take pictures with kids. Their job is to remind you how important public safety is and how much we all care about you and why it's important that you know how to use 911 and that you understand that the Highway Patrol and the Sacramento Police Department and the Sacramento firefighters are here to help you always in your life, you and your parents and your family and your schools and your teachers and your communities. So, I get to introduce them and then we'll cheer really loud for them all at once. First, there's Chipper the Chipmunk from the California Highway Patrol. Yay for Chipper. Everybody's favorite crime-fighting dog, McGruff the Crime Dog. He's not here. He must have went to school. Sorry, he's at school. He took off. And then teaching us how to prevent forest fires. My personal childhood bear. Yes, Smokey the Bear. And our very own fire dog is Sparky back there. Yes, Sparky the fire dog. Those of you who've been to the fire stations have met Sparky, I'm sure. And the 911 mascot, Red E. Fox. And then half of the cell phone sisters. Usually Abby and Gabby would both be here, but Gabby is recharging. So Abby is holding it down for the 911 wireless. All right. So I am really excited to get to the heart of this, which is celebrating kids who are learning and growing and protecting our community, the next leaders, the people who will be up here soon in our shoes. And I get to bring up the president of the California chapter of the National Emergency Number Association. Important to note that he used to lead Sacramento's 911 call center, which is where I met him. When I was a new council member, he was the first person to give me a tour of Sacramento's 911 call center. So, Mr. Paul Truxell.
Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us here today. It's a gorgeous day. And it's an honor for me to be here representing CalNENA and our 911 dispatchers. And we should also be extremely proud of the California 911 system. The telephone system that we have here is truly the largest and one of the most advanced in the nation. California has 441 911 answering points throughout the state. From small centers that have one dispatcher working to large centers who have your 911 calls whenever you need police, fire, or medical. We continue to help everybody understand what the expectation is in that potential, and you guys are the next generation. We need your help. We teach you, you help teach your folks, your grandparents, your aunts and uncles, your peers at school. It's important that we all work together with this education program. That's why the program, their efforts. And I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce the bright young faces that we see here today. These are the students of Paso Verde in North Natomas. Earlier today, these students participated in the 911 caller education presented by Paul Nicholson, a special friend and supporter of the 911 for Kids program. And boys and girls, would you please share with us what you learned earlier?
Hey, boys and girls, do you guys remember what we need to remember? Yes, you do. When dialing 911 from your cell phone, rule 1. Call only for immediate emergency assistance. Rule 2. Be prepared. Rule 3. Stay on the line. Good job. Give yourselves a round of applause.
Great job. And I'd also like to thank the teachers of Paso Verde. Your support is as much appreciated as the kids being here today. And it's a great honor for me to introduce our next presenter. We're being joined today to present the 911 Heroes Awards. Please give a warm welcome to the Golden Gate Division Assistant Chief Chris Childs from the California Highway Patrol.
Good morning, kids. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Well, I can't hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
much better, much better. So they asked me to come here today to tell a story. You ready for a story?
Yeah!
Again, are you ready for a story?
Yeah!
Very good, very good. On October 9th, in the wee hours of the morning, actually the evening into the morning, a massive wildfire broke out in Sonoma County and Napa County. Massive. And I came out the next morning and it was amazing. Just hundreds of homes destroyed. We're worried to death about the people in our community, and the people are calling 911 left and right. And they're calling 911 because they need help. So what happened on that fateful night is we have two people who called 911, Mr. Sam Kimbles and Miss Sarah Spalding Phillips. And they were at home and they needed to get out to their driveway. And so they started driving their car. And they're driving their car and a tree fell in front of them. And a fire's coming up the hill. Would you be scared, kids?
No!
I'd be scared. I'd be real scared. So they called 911, just like we teach you to do. They need emergency help. And there were some heroes on the other end of that line that picked up the phone. The first person that picked up the phone was Public Safety Dispatcher Kim Brown. And did you know that we took over 5,000 calls that night? 5,000 in one night. I mean, that's busy. So Kim Brown picks up the phone and she hears a voice on the other end saying, we need help, a tree's down, the fire's coming up the hill, and we need to be able to get out of our driveway. And so Kim takes all the information down. Now, I must admit that when I was the commander of the comm center, I got certified on taking 911 calls, and I was terrible at it, just terrible. But our heroes that do it day in and day out, that did it thousands of times that night, they asked all kinds of pertinent questions. Where are you at? What address are you at? What's going on? Where's the fire? And kept people calm. And the whole time, Kim Brown is on the computer typing away, and really, dispatchers can multitask better than anybody in the world, and I give them tons of props. Love my dispatcher beeps. Takes this information down and puts it in a log. Sends the log out. We're hoping the fire department gets there. Do you think the fire department's busy that night? Absolutely. So she sends the log over, and Miss Melissa Matre, who's also a public safety dispatcher, she's sifting through the logs, and she identifies this log being very important. So she picks up the log, and she reads it, and she gets dispatched, or she sends it out to the officers on the scene. And you got two officers here today, Officer John Sloat, well, I guess not two, his partner, Ken Angers here, and John Sloat were the two officers that responded that night, and they thought, hey, maybe the fire department can get out there with a chainsaw. Well, it's going to take the fire department a while because they've got 1,000 fires to put out in a massive wildfire. And so these two heroes, based on the information taken by our honorable 911 dispatch folk, helped Sam Kimbles and Sarah Spalding Phillips get over the tree and get in the patrol car and take them down the hill. So if you think about what happened that night, lives were saved because you got heroes on the line ready to take the call, and heroes out in the field ready to help people out. It's an important system. It's one that we depend on in our public safety world to get this information to us so we can help people out there in the field, and we're grateful for our heroes. So I'm going to invite our heroes to join me up here. So I'd like to invite Miss Melissa Matre, Kim Brown, Ken Anger, and on behalf of John Sloat, his good commanders here today, a good friend of mine, Mr. Mike Palacio, to come forward.
Presenting the Medal of Honor to Dispatcher Brown is Assistant Chief Childs. Presenting the Hero Certificate to Dispatcher Brown is Tim Brown. Presenting the Medal of Honor to Dispatcher Matria is Mark Laducci, and the Hero Certificate to Dispatcher Matria is Mike Applegate. And if we could all just move in together, Kelly, can you help us move everyone together? We have a Kim Brown and a Tim Brown here, so that must mean something. Yes. Fantastic. So we're going to get you guys all up here after our heroes presentation, so don't run away. Yes, please.
So, in a special treat today, the two people that were saved in this incident are here with us. So I would like to invite Sam Kimbles and Sarah Spalding Phillips to come forward and meet your heroes. So come on up.
Hey Charlie, while we're setting this photo up, could you help us to thank everyone?
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank everybody for coming out today and supporting this important program. It wouldn't be possible without the support of our volunteers and our corporate sponsors. We'd like to thank in particular Vaughn Beals, Mike Applewhite, and the incredible team at Motorola, the California State Assembly and Senate, Director Ghilarducci, and the California Governor's Office of Emergency Services, Commissioner Warren Stanley, Assistant Chief Childs, and the entire staff at the California Highway Patrol Community Outreach and Media Relations, Paul Troxel and the CalNINA Board, Kathy Brandenburg, Michelle Bland, and Terry Mendoza, Angelique Ashby and the City of Sacramento, District 1, and the teachers and students of Paso Verde School. Tim, can you please conclude our program?
While they're setting up for a picture, let me just say this. Learning the proper use of 911 in an emergency could be one of the most important things we could ever learn. It can mean the only difference between life and a death situation. Everyone needs to know how to properly use a 911 system. It is imperative that we all know how to call, when and when not to call, and remember not to hang up until the dispatcher lets you know it is okay. The more information we're able to give a dispatcher can make all the difference in the world. On behalf of 911 for Kids and California's public safety organizations, we congratulate today's California State 911 heroes. Thank you and God bless.
Okay.